Sometimes the silence feels heavier than the pain. You start to wonder if Allah still hears you. When help delays, the heart begins to doubt. But Allah was never absent. This is the story of Surah Ad Duha. There was a time when silence filled the world of the messenger, peace be upon him, and revelation stopped, and fear quietly crept in. Nights felt longer, the sky felt distant, and the heart wondered, had Allah stopped speaking to him? Whispers began, doubts spread, and cruel tongues claimed, your Lord has left you. But Allah does not abandon his servants, and silence was not neglect. It was preparation. Then came the oath, a divine reassurance spoken with the power of the morning light. By the morning brightness, Allah swore by light itself, by a beginning after darkness, and by the calm of the night, the stillness that brings rest, not abandonment. Allah declared with love, your Lord has neither left you nor forgotten you. Silence was not rejection. It was care, protection, and wisdom beyond what the heart could see. And Allah reminded him, the future ahead of you will always be better than what has passed. Allah didn't just comfort him. He promised him a future filled with endless goodness and honor. Every hardship he carried would only open doors to blessings the world could never imagine. And soon the world itself would witness how Allah raises the hearts he loves. Then Allah reminded him of the past, not to reopen pain, but to heal it with truth. Did he not find you an orphan, and then surround you with protection and love? When there was no one to stand beside you, Allah himself stood for you. He guided you when the path was unclear, and he never left you alone. Blessing after blessing, protection after protection, until hope became stronger than fear. So how could anyone say he abandoned you, when your entire life was proof of his care? Your Lord chose you with love, and love does not disappear. This surah was not only a comfort for him, it became a comfort for every broken heart after him. It reminds us that silence from Allah is never abandonment. It is mercy preparing something greater. When you feel lost, remember this surah spoke to fear, doubt, and loneliness, and turned them into hope. Allah sees your struggle, just as he saw his beloved messenger, peace be upon him. And just like then, relief is already on its way. This surah teaches us darkness is temporary, faith is eternal, and Allah never leaves the hearts that remain patient. Every believer who feels forgotten finds their answer in Surah Ad Duha, because it whispers to every broken soul, Allah has not left you, and your tomorrow will always be better than your yesterday. There are moments when the future feels uncertain, as if hope itself is fading. But Allah reminds us, what is ahead is far better than what is past. This wasn't just comfort. It was a promise written by the Lord of all time. Allah promised that every delay, every hardship, every moment of silence had meaning. Nothing was lost, nothing was forgotten, nothing was ignored. Then Allah did something incredible. He reminded the heart of past blessings. He reminded of a childhood where protection was sent again and again, of guidance when the path ahead was unknown, of care when there was no one else to care. Allah reminds us of yesterday, so we trust him with tomorrow. But this reassurance was not just to heal the heart, it was to guide the ummah. Because when Allah heals you, he also calls you to heal others, to remember the orphan, to protect the vulnerable, to speak gently when others speak harshly. And above all, Allah teaches healing through gratitude. Not empty words, but gratitude that lives in action. Gratitude that transforms pain into strength, that turns silence into trust, and turns fear into a promise of good. There were days when the world around him turned cold, and it felt as if comfort itself had disappeared. But silence was never abandonment. It was only a pause before mercy would return even brighter. Allah reminded him that the one who guided him would never leave him lost, not even for a moment. The heart that once searched in loneliness was chosen to carry light for all of humanity. And just as dawn breaks every night, relief was promised, certain, unstoppable, and near. Ad Duha came as reassurance that no believer is ever forgotten and no sincere heart is ever left alone. It taught patience, not as waiting in darkness, but as trusting the light you cannot yet see. It taught gratitude, reminding the heart of blessings that came before and blessings still on the way. And it promised that what lies ahead will always be better than what was left behind. Because when Allah is guiding your tomorrow, your story will only rise higher from here. Then Allah reminded him of the past, not to reopen pain, but to show how mercy had always been with him. There was a time when he stood without support, yet Allah surrounded him with protection and care. There were moments when the world felt uncertain, but guidance always came at the perfect time. Every struggle had a purpose, every silence carried wisdom, every delay prepared greatness. Surah Ad Duha reminded the heart that Allah's care was never absent. It was constant and loving. It told him, "You were never abandoned, you were never ignored, you were never alone." Just as Allah shaped every chapter of your story before, He is shaping the future with the same love. This surah wasn't only revelation, it was divine comfort, wrapped in words that healed the heart. It reminded that when Allah supports you, no emptiness stays empty forever. Relief was not coming, relief had already begun. Ad Duha didn't only speak to him, it speaks to every believer who feels forgotten. It speaks to hearts that tremble, to souls that feel lost, to lives waiting for light. It says, Allah has not left you. He never left you. He will never leave you. Just as dawn returns after every night, mercy returns after every hardship. This surah teaches that faith is not about never feeling low. It is about remembering who lifts you when you do. It reminds us that the one who protected you before will protect you again. The one who guided you before will guide you again. The one who gave you when you had nothing will bless you in ways you never imagined. Ad Duha is hope. Ad Duha is healing. Ad Duha is reassurance from the Lord of the worlds. And for every believer who recites it, it whispers, your dawn is coming too. With every verse, Allah wrapped comfort around the heart that once felt alone. He was reminded of blessings that shaped him, of protection that carried him, of guidance that never failed. These weren't just memories. They were proof of Allah's love. Proof that every moment of care was preparing him for something greater. Proof that the one who watched over yesterday watches over today and is already preparing tomorrow. And when a believer hears these verses, they feel it too. Allah has never left them either. Every test was seen, every tear was known, every silent prayer was heard. Ad Duha became a promise. What awaits you ahead is better than anything you have left behind. It is a reminder that your story is still unfolding, and it is unfolding beautifully. Because when Allah writes your journey, every ending is only the beginning of something better. When revelation paused, the prophet's heart felt heavy, confused, and deeply alone. Silence surrounded him, and questions echoed where comfort once lived. But silence was never abandonment. It was a moment of divine wisdom. Allah had not left him, nor turned away from his beloved messenger. Instead, Allah was preparing something greater than what had paused. Ad Duha came as comfort, not as correction. A reminder that divine love does not disappear during difficult moments. The pause was not rejection. It was mercy unfolding quietly. Allah reassured the prophet's heart with gentleness and care. And with that reassurance, fear slowly gave way to peace. Allah reminded him of the future, brighter, stronger, and filled with goodness. What is coming will always be better than what has passed. Every delay carried purpose. Every pause carried meaning. Allah was shaping the future with precision and mercy. Nothing in the prophet's life was ever random or forgotten. Allah then reminded him of the past, moments of protection and care. Was he not an orphan, and Allah gave him shelter? Lost once, yet guided with unseen wisdom and love. Needing once, yet enriched with dignity and purpose. Every chapter of his life carried Allah's care within it. Ad Duha teaches us to look back and recognize Allah's hand, because remembrance strengthens faith during uncertainty. The past proves that Allah never abandoned his servant, and the future promises even greater mercy ahead. What awaits is far better than what has passed. This surah speaks to every heart that feels forgotten. It whispers reassurance to those walking through silence. Allah's care does not pause even when revelation does. Every delay carries wisdom beyond what we can see. And every believer is held by that same divine care. There are moments in life when the heart feels empty, unsure, and afraid, yet Allah never leaves His servant alone. Just like the Prophet was reassured, every believer is reminded that Allah's care is closer than they can imagine. When the world feels silent and heavy, remember, silence is not abandonment. It is preparation for something greater. Every hardship you face is known by Allah, every tear is seen, and every silent prayer is heard. And just like dawn always follows the darkest night, ease will always follow hardship, by the promise of Allah. Ad Duha reminds us to trust the one who has carried us this far, because He will never leave us lost. He guided when we didn't know, He protected when we couldn't see, and He blessed us in ways we never realized. Your past is full of His mercy, your present is surrounded by His care, and your future is already written with goodness. So, do not feel abandoned, do not feel forgotten. The Lord who raised you will continue to hold you. Because the one who brought light back to the Prophet's heart will bring light back to yours too. Ad Duha doesn't just speak to history. It speaks to every believer who has ever felt lost or alone. It whispers to the heart, your Lord has not abandoned you, and He never will. Your journey may feel heavy now, but Allah is preparing something far better than what you left behind. He reminded the Prophet of blessings in the past, so we remember ours and trust the blessings yet to come. If Allah cared for you yesterday and cares for you today, then trust He will care for you tomorrow too. So hold your heart steady. Relief is on its way, kindness is near, and goodness is written ahead for you. This surah is a promise that your story is not ending in darkness, but in light and mercy. And just as dawn transforms the desert, faith transforms the heart, filling it with strength and peace. Ad Duha is a gift to every believer who needs reassurance that Allah never leaves His servants behind. So, breathe, trust, and believe. The one who guided the Prophet will guide you through your hardest days too. Let your heart rest in the promise of Allah, knowing that His plan is always greater than our worries. He sees your struggle, He hears your prayers, and He will respond in the most beautiful way. Trust Him the way the Prophet trusted Him, with patience, hope, and unwavering faith. Because every believer who holds on to Allah will always rise again, stronger and more guided than before. Ad Duha ends not with sadness, but with strength, reassurance, and absolute divine love. It teaches us to look forward with certainty that Allah has already written better days ahead. So, whenever your heart feels heavy, remember Ad Duha. Remember that dawn always follows the night. Remember that Allah never leaves, and His mercy is always nearer than you think. And just like the Prophet found peace, you too will find peace by the will of Allah. This is the promise of Ad Duha. Your Lord has not abandoned you, and your future will be brighter than your past.